So, in my new challenge about being a CEO of your own life, everything that I wanted to do in the previous challenge has to be there anyways, because it's the gap that I have in between what I really want to do, what ends up happening, what has happened. Okay? Those are two things. And what's the gap in between them? So, if I could zoom in with the gap, I could zoom in on what I need to be doing, and I'm zooming in on what has been happening. Then, by paying close attention, I could be back in control of my life. What do I mean? Well, CEO stands for Chief Executive Officer. I mean, you're supposed to be in charge of delegating certain tasks, of understanding the different people that you have a certain authority of, and they're happy that you have that authority over them because everyone is doing their part perfectly. So you're all one doing the same thing. When you're not a CEO of your own life, is that you cannot even manage yourself in the most powerful way. The habits that you have when you don't feel good is sometimes to run away from things that you need to be doing. So instead of visualizing things that empower you, you go into things that disempower you, and that becomes a habit. And that's something that's very dangerous for us. And we got to realize, wait a minute, why do I go towards the ice cream when I'm not feeling good? So there's two things. I'm trying to feel good, but with something that's not going to make me feel good. So I'm trying to get the end result of something that I didn't do because it might make me feel good. There's another unconscious part to doing that is because you already feel bad. So why bother? You know, it's like as if you're trying to make yourself feel worse, or you're staying with a habit that keeps you in the I feel bad, so I deserve to be bad type of thing. And it's a really something interesting that I have noticed in my own life, that I would go towards junk food when I felt like junk. But it never really made me feel better. It just really cements you into feeling bad till maybe one day you wake up the next day and you just feel like doing something different. Why couldn't I go towards what I need to do first, such as what do I find it difficult to do right now that would be the ideal thing to do? So we need to have better response mechanisms when we go in towards disempowering habits that only further us from what needs to be done, what we get to do. And then when I know that, wait a minute, I've broken the cycle that has been taking over my power over years, and I know what to do instead, you feel amazing because doing the right thing in that situation, which is not obvious, is one of the most powerful things. You're being like 1% of the society at that moment where you decide to go towards, you know what? I just need to go talk to this person, but I need to create a space to make sure that what I'm going to say to them really comes from my heart. And I can't judge ahead of time, like as if I know what really was the conflict. I'm here with an open mind of, I know how I felt, but I'm open to see something else. And I like that. That's right from the book with Don Miguel Ruiz, The Fifth Agreement, which is, be skeptical, but be open minded, or be open minded, but be skeptical, meaning I'm open to finding a solution here. And I'm skeptical about even myself feeling that I'm already right. Or I'm skeptical with the apology that the person is give to me. I'm open to hearing it, but I know maybe there might be a false reaction on their part because they're just trying to make themselves feel good. But I'm still open minded. It's just that I'm giving myself a possibility to look deeper into what's really going on. Now doing that, do I still want to eat the ice cream? The joy that I have is probably 5 times better than what the ice cream could give because the ice cream can't make me feel that good on a cellular level. It just has a very short lifespan of feel good, which starts diminishing right away as the consequence of the sugar is going to affect your brain, and the consequence of how you're going to look the next day is going to ruin your day as well. So it's like, why are we yo-yoing around? And that's why you would want to have a very good CEO that is taking charge of you because they know what the responsible thing to do in a difficult situation. That's why you kind of like look up to them. So, can I have something to look up to even within myself? When someone says, hey, I think this is a better thing to do, we're going to go with that. Good. Are you listening? But imagine if you have an irresponsible CEO, which is like, I wouldn't really do that. And then there's no power. Say, hey, come on, stop it. Hey, come on, you shouldn't be doing that. There's no power. It's disempowering. It's like a chaos. That company will go into ruins. And another thing we have to make sure of is the noble neglect aspect of things. Now, if the CEO is not taking care of their lives, there's a certain authority that they have with themselves that they cannot apply. And that's why it comes with our health. Like if I'm getting wealth is because I'm responsible with certain things, with what I'm doing outside of the office, with who I am being with myself in general. So if there's broken agreements that I have with myself, I said I was going to do something in my mind. There were words that were said because I felt like that's the thing to do, and I can't even keep up with that, and I can't even do that at all. I don't need to shame myself, but I just need to zoom in on the gap in between what I said, and what I said is based on what I don't want as an outcome. So can I zoom in on the gap? And what am I going to do about it? And what am I going to do about it is what we need to be zooming in on. It's good to set an intention, but if I'm not, in the habit, I'm not respecting what I put in my agenda, that's going to be a very big problem. So I got to zoom in and create a silence of what happened here. And the best CEOs are the ones that are going to spend the least amount of time in that zone and act on doing something different. So if you're trying something different, you're getting closer to light bulb moments where it's like, oh, it's so much clearer what I need to do. And that's the thing that happened with Thomas Edison. What if he was just repeating the exact same recipe 10,000 times? Then we wouldn't have had the invention of the light bulb in time. But for us, there needs to be a light bulb in our own lives that kind of clears up the room of a room that we're walking in, and we're like bumping into things, and we're like always bumping into the same things. It doesn't feel good, but if I don't turn on the lights in that room, this thing's going to be happening. What is it of different I can do before I bump into something? What is the pattern that follows that? And eating something that you feel personally disempowers you, forget about everyone else for a moment. Doing something that disempowers you, what usually happens before that? Or what usually doesn't happen before that? And that's when you start becoming the CEO of your life. You're back as being the chief executive officer. You're a chief. But if you don't have any chief authority, then you're not a CEO. You might be an executive officer. You're just executing, what's been happening, but there's no authority. You're just doing what the feelings inside of you are telling you to do, but they're conflicting, they change, they're all over the place. So that's why we find ourselves all over the place, because we're just executing based on what we're feeling, but we're never really studying what we're feeling. You could have a gut feeling and intuition that's completely wrong, but you never really zoom in on it. And you could have one that's right, and then you don't act on it. You want to be able to zoom in on what's really happening. And that's why for me, I just feel like it's one of the most important things when someone in health and fitness, they have these impulsions that's taking them to get into the gym or to get a trainer or get into a program. But right away, there's like these conflicting energies that send them all over the place, And why I'm saying that is that the reason why they actually went into the gym is sometimes not even really being addressed. And why would they enjoy it? They would not enjoy the process because they don't understand how who they're being right now at the moment is responsible. And there's a great joy of that. But if now they're just letting someone else not explain to them the reasons why they need to do certain things, then they're kind of like blindly executing certain orders. And that's not cool. You want to be a chief and be like, listen, from one CEO to another, I need to be emulating what you're doing here. So I need to understand as I execute why I'm really doing this in a way it makes sense to me, and it's an extension of my own knowledge and my own thought process. Now I'm being responsible, and I could verify and really align that logic, that science that's outside of me, and make it part of my own science. So I do not feel like I need to just have a blind faith. I have an enlightened faith, meaning there's light in what I could expect based on what I'm doing in the present moment. And if I could feel what I'm doing in the present moment, I could feel that knowledge is alive right now. I could feel it in my behavior. Then why would I have a problem with needing to be motivated when I could feel that what I'm doing right now is leading to what I want? And that's why we need to stop just blindly letting people whip us into action. And we need to more understand what we get to be in action with. And that gives us the sweetest taste in how we feel. So we don't need to get things sweet and salty outside of us to try to bring us back, or because we feel bad, we go towards that crap. I would say if you feel like crap, don't go towards things that have been labeled as crap. Go to something of a higher level. And that's what I invite everyone else to do here by being a CEO in your life. So what you want to do, you get to do, because you're being responsible and you get a higher level of what you always wanted. Stop settling for something that is lower than your real potential, because you want to see what you're really made of. And that's the most beautiful thing when it's just a habit, to be in alignment with who you really are. you at its highest level.